Say our song? I mean, our song. So,
Please rise for our first song.
you ready? Are you ready?
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, a day to be seized, yeah. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Can feel the Spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, what a wonderful morning. Thank you for joining us today on this wonderful pre-Thanksgiving Sunday. We appreciate you being here and coming back to your spiritual home and to be filled with all the love and support that we have here for you. Our practitioner of the day today is Kathy Royer. And we have a few announcements for you, so I want to go over those. My name is Julie Smith, and I'm the board secretary. Some of you may know me. Amongst so many other things, and we'll talk about those in just a minute. So some of we have so many things going on, and some of the things I want to talk about and highlight here, we have a holiday project for at-risk teens. Nancy Noel is running that. It's Nancy Noel runs the Projects of Love Committee, and the organization we're working with this month is the Heart Pantry. So we're donating water bottles to teens in need. So if you have any insulated water bottles, they should be brand new, and they should be able to fit in a backpack. And you can bring them, and there's a box by the front door that you can put those in. The other thing is the art market on December 3rd. I'm going to have Karen Izzy come up and talk about that.
Things are happening here. It's very exciting to be back in action and be together. 10 years ago, I started an art market in order to support my friends in art. This year is the 10th one, and we have people from our family here participating, about 25 vendors this time. December 3rd, you can pick up an invitation. It looks like this. There will be cupcakes by Julie. So I think that's the main draw, the cupcakes. So 9 to 4, December 3rd. And while I'm up here, I invite you to our artistic workshops that are happening here now too. Holistic and artistic, that's my tagline. And thank you to Reverend Karen and for Cheryl for posting these notes everywhere. So hope to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And definitely those workshops are fantastic. You should join them. Zentangle, yes. And then today, after service, we have our family meeting. We invite you to join us in Papke Hall. We'll have a meeting, and it'll be pretty much right after service. So you can join us in there, and we will just talk a little bit about what's going on and what is, it's your opportunity to talk to us about what is going on at the center. So, and then of course, November is our stewardship month, so we'll be talking about our stewardship campaign. This month is Unearthing Our Treasures. So our theme is about planting seeds for our spiritual home based on our decisions and actions. Our pledge program not only seeds our future, but it invites you to participate in our spiritual practices. When we tithe to our spiritual home, we practice the law of circulation, and we anchor ourselves in truth that we live in an abundant world, and there is more than enough. When you volunteer, you share your gifts and talents, and that is the reason why we are here on this planet, to share our gifts and talents with the world. When we pray for more love, beauty, and abundance for our spiritual home and our lives, we claim our good. Together, we create a spiritual home that loves and supports and welcomes newcomers with open arms. So your yearly financial pledge is seeding the future of our spiritual home, and we ask for your continued support by completing a pledge card. Your pledge amount will help us budget and plan for 2023, and we're looking towards the future and as our community continues to thrive. In 2023, Reverend Karen and Reverend Clyde will be teaching more classes at the center, and we will continue to offer more workshops, book studies, and other spiritual programs. We continue to create a container for everybody to feel love and support as we learn and grow spiritually and express life fully. The vision for a fuller list of classes, programs, and events presents a beautiful opportunity for us all to jump in and get more involved. It wasn't until I started getting involved here that I found the way to become spiritually aligned with my good. When I first came to the center, I wanted to kind of fly under the radar and be unseen. Worked real well, didn't it? What I found, though, was that when I shared my time and my talents, it created a space for me to become more abundant in my own life and my spiritual practices. So the actions that I chose when I started to choose that were to volunteer. I joined the women's group. I attended workshops and retreats, and then I became a board member. And once I got involved, like really involved, I really grew as a person, and I've seen myself shine in ways that I never even imagined were possible. And I found that aligning with my good in that way, I live a more spiritually and financially abundant life, and it just keeps getting better and better. So I invite you to take a concrete action today. No matter how small, take a step towards aligning yourself with abundance by sharing what you have, whether it's time, talent, or treasure, and see how much you grow by doing so. Attend a workshop, event, or class, join a group, start a group. Volunteer for one of the many positions that support our center and Sunday services. Send in your pledge card. All of these things support our spiritual center and allow us to continue to support you and others who will come through those doors long after you and I. You can bring your pledge card in person. You can drop it off in the gold box at Home's Base in the bookstore, or you can hand it to myself or Reverend Karen. Cards can also be mailed in. Our goal this year is to collect 40 pledge cards and a pledge amount of $80,000 or more. Please join us in knowing this truth for our community. Anytime you visit in person this month, also remember to go to the back of the sanctuary before or after service and pull a gem out of the bowl. We filled the bowl with sand, and there's different little gems buried in there, and there's a little description of what each of those gems means. And when you get yours, we invite you just to consider how it shows up in your life. Keep the gem with you for the next 30 days, the rest of this month, 30 days, whatever, and use it as a reminder to support your intention to seed the future of our center in whatever way you see fit. We ask that you hold the gem daily and pray for the abundance of your life and our community. And this quote from Rumi reminds me of the abundance of the universe within each of us. Shine like the whole universe is yours. And now it's time to go inward, to consider our giving, to consider our abundance. And we're going to center ourselves with this beautiful music from the Bradfords.
So take a deep breath, releasing any concerns you might have of the day and connecting with Spirit.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind.
And I will wait upon the Lord.
Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
Oh, and in this quiet place, there is but one essence, one love, one spirit that I choose to call God. And God is love and light and beauty and peace and abundance and joy and prosperity and freedom and light. God is all there is. God is all there has ever been and all there ever will be. And in this space, we all come together and we are blessed as we are all one with this God. So I know this truth for myself. I know that for everyone in this room watching us and those who aren't with us today. I say a word of blessings for the Bradfords and their awesome music that always, always fills our soul, connects us with this God of our understanding. And I say a word of blessing for Reverend Karen and her words that is always the perfect message that she delivers, that God speaks through her, so that we may learn and grow and take what she teaches us and give forth to others. We have to share what we get. And I just say a word of awesome gratitude for this perfectly perfect service. And I just release this into the law knowing it is already done. And together we say, and so it is. Okay. I was trying to figure out what Reverend Karen was going to speak about today, but I couldn't come up with anything. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I did come up with something, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it, so I decided maybe I shouldn't do it. So I decided, since it's Thanksgiving, that I would use Ernest Holmes, and we would talk about gratitude and love. How's that sound? So in our textbook, Ernest Holmes, in the section Other Teachings from the New Testament on page 497, constant prayer, which kind of goes along with what we've been talking about. Pray without ceasing. This means to always be always on the affirmative side of life. To pray without ceasing is to doubt never, but to always trust in the law of good. This inner communion is essential to the soul and natural to the mind. It is a constant recognition of our relationship to that presence in which we live and move and have our being. In everything, give thanks. An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are now in heaven. How we love to do for those who cooperate with and are grateful for our small endeavors. Gratitude is one of the chief graces of human existence and is crowned in heaven with the consciousness of unity. Thought that was pretty cool. I like the attitude of gratitude thing. Those of you who know me know why. The second little subject I have is love. And this comes from John 13:34-35. Love is the central flame of the universe, nay, the very fire itself. It is written that God is love, and that we are his expressed likeness, the image of the eternal being. Love is self-giving through creation, the impartation of the divine through the human. Love is an essence, an atmosphere, which defies analysis, as does life itself. It is that which is and cannot be explained. It is common to all people, to all animal life, and evident to the response of plants to those who love them. Love reigns supreme over all. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God. And so it is. Let us think about those two things. Thank you.
So I just got to say that y'all lights shine so brightly, and we are a beacon, right? We're going to spread it to the world. So I want you to all sing this song. It's so perfect. Ready? Yeah, you ready? Yep. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine. Woo! Let it shine, everybody.
Let's see. That's always what happens. I should know better. I should go, I'll turn it on, but you turn it down first. because they got it up looking for me. All right, I'm going to hold it for a minute, make sure it's not a battery issue, because the last time this happened, that's what we did. So anyhow, I'm still Reverend Karen Rice, and I am indeed I know, yay, lasted through that. I am the spiritual leader of this community, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm so grateful I love that. The energy from that song is really how a whole bunch of us felt driving to the center this morning. So I don't know what's going on in the universe. Maybe it's just that pre-Thanksgiving, the joy of anticipating fun stuff, but there's something special. And I do get a little revved up in the stewardship program, because that is indeed when we are making our mark in the upcoming year. It gets very exciting, and I do a lot of work around renewing my own vision for our future and how I want to communicate that, and what are our expectations. And today is the family meeting, so if you can possibly stick around after we have some snacks, coffee and a little snack. We are going to try and do it in an hour, so we don't keep you here and against your will. Because I know you've already listened a lot, but we've got some really fun things to say, but I don't think I have as much to say as much as I want to hear what you have to say. So I've created a setting for us where you can contribute information, and I think it'll be fun. As I was looking at what I wanted to do, I went through all my old stuff from the years past, because I brought the family meeting idea when I came here, and I was really impressed. I used to go out and buy balloons and have each table was numbered, and I thought, well, I'm not that ambitious anymore. It's really hard to get balloons to the center by yourself. So anyhow, I'm still excited about the meeting, and we'll do that when this is all complete, because this is our stewardship campaign. It's just about over. We only have 1 week left. We are looking at seeding our future, and I'm so pleased with how lovely the sand chalice turned out and the stones, and that you get to stick your hand in there and pull out a stone. And thank you, Julie, for saying it so perfectly, that we really want you to pray on that stone for your own well-being, and know that when we are vibrant, then that spills over into our spiritual community. When we do better, when individuals do better, it's good for all of us. I mean, don't you just love to hang around? Oh my God, look who's back. Hi, you guys, I just noticed. Pat and Nancy are back from Kentucky. Wow, welcome home. Came back a little late this year. By the way, Nancy, both of your woodwork sold nicely at the silent auction. So thank you very much for that contribution. We're sorry you missed the party this year. Great, she's going to make more things for next year, for the auction for next year. Thank you very much. Oh my God, I just love it when people come home again. Sand and the stones, I wanted to just say it was good. Aren't you impressed I could recover that quickly? Woo, some shiny. The stones, the way they are representative on the little cards, are not from any other source except Emma Curtis Hopkins, who is the Christian mystic that Dr. Ernest Holmes studied under, and Ernest Holmes, of course, is the founder of this teaching. So it's her interpretation of those 12 stones and the way they connect to the biblical passages of the gemstones on Aaron's breastplate in the Old Testament, and then the stones at the Ark of the Covenant in the New Testament. So there you go. There's lots of fun, and we've tied a lot of things together to remind us of the symbology and the way that it can nurture us, but the way that it nurtures us as a community as well. So we are unearthing our treasures. We are looking to expose or reveal the rarest gem, which happens to be in you. There's a beautiful inner truth about you, and the revealing of that is this process of living our lives and the way that our spirituality contributes to that revelation of the highest form. I have also aligned to the theme this year. One of my leading quotes as a minister, as a spiritual leader, I love that quote from Antoine Saint-Exupéry, who said, if you want to build a boat, don't teach people to gather wood, teach them to yearn for the sea. And that's what I feel like my goal is increasingly become more and more relevant, that my goal and my intention is to spark in something within you that will help you yearn for the sea. And what does that mean? What does that mean to yearn for that sea when we're talking about it in this vast spiritual conversation of bigger truths? And what it means to me is that we are individually a vessel of possibility, and that we can be much like St. Francis said, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Make me an instrument of your love. And so in what ways are we opening ourselves to be vessels, to be containers? And in what way do we as a spiritual community, the collective of us, become a container of possibilities? So I would define it in this way, or in these ways, that we desire, that yearning that we feel inside of us is a yearning to have a closer relationship with God. Right? And so that yearning then is that for us as individuals, for some of us it might be that we desire to be a part of the transformation on the planet that is so trying to sort of break forth and emerge, and that we can maneuver through the changes that are required in that, a positive transformation. That yearning is that we will continue to find, when we're aligned to spiritual truth, we have an ability to meet our challenges. You know, when things get rocky in our life, or in politically or in the world, that there are skills we can use to carry us through until we can return to our own sanity and return to love again. The yearning is that we desire to live in less fear, in that day by day by day livingness that we participate in just by being human. And then the last thing that I see bubbling up so much in the last few years, I have noticed that I'm hearing you speak more and more about this yearning to witness more compassion on the planet. And the only way we can witness more compassion is to be more compassionate. So those are the ways that we join together. And I believe that on a Sunday morning, every Sunday morning in this spiritual community, in one way or another, we address the idea of wholeness, or the allness of life, the way we're all connected to each other. And we have never known that more since the World Wide Web really became this illustration of oh my gosh, we really are connected in ways we haven't even imagined yet. So we're building something. We're building ourselves to be better containers. We're building a vessel. Build a ship, yearn for the sea. We're building a vessel that yearns for right action to happen on the planet. And the title of my message this morning is The Joy of Right Action. The joy of right action, not do the right thing. This is not one of those, don't hear this through your old church ears, where you just think the minister is throwing out some little, this is what you need to do, and this is how you should clean up your act. And that's not the message. The message is that when we align ourselves to the divine right action of the universe, that there is joy in our livingness, because our lives change when we do that. And I think that fits so beautifully with my idea of being remarkable. I've announced already that our theme for 2023 as a spiritual community is Let's Be Remarkable. And to be remarkable is about building character, It's about noticing the spiritual truths in life and helping each other see in that more divine way. Or as Ernest Holmes once said, we must learn to see as God sees, in that divine, the way that there's a divine harmony that we might not always be able to, have at the surface of our attention. Now, I wanted to introduce you to a word that is somewhat new to me, but Dr. Ernest Holmes uses it in his writings and when he would speak, and it's the omni-action of God. I want to talk today about the omni-action of God as that being the joy of right action. When we get in that energetic place of understanding what the omni-action of God is, then we can exhibit that joy in our doingness, because everything we do then is under this beautiful umbrella of a spiritual truth at the root of it. So, the omnis, almost every religion is based on those three omnis. Do you remember what they are? Somebody shout one out. Omnipresent. Okay, hold on. I confused myself. No, I want to talk about one at a time. So I heard omnipresent first. So God is present in all places at all times. Then I heard, Robert, you said omniscient, the all-knowingness of God, right? The infinite intelligence of the universe. And then the third one is omnipotent. I don't think anybody said that one when you were, did anybody say that? Omnipotent. Oh, we did. We had a couple. I see a couple hands. Omnipotent, the all-powerful. That's the almighty creator, that all-powerful. So we see in the omnis the allness of life. We see this great power, and today we're talking about the omni-action. And by the way, I don't know where Cheryl is sitting right now, but, oh, there you are. She's not sitting at all. She's standing. That's what I heard. I think it was over here somewhere. Somebody hollered out omnificent. That's the one, Cheryl, I was asking you about that you used to always say. Trivia. Cheryl and I were trying to remember. What is that other one? You don't hardly ever hear it. Always creating. Lovely. I like that. So I want to share with you the quote that for which I pulled the title of the message today and the theme for what we're saying. Dr. Ernest Holmes said, "We must promote the good we choose." You choose it, then promote it, live it, demonstrate it, right? We must promote the good we choose. Everything we do toward that end is the price. In the objective world, it consists of good work, of systematic study, of personal development, or any concrete action that represents your part in the transaction. So it's a transaction. He's talking about giving and receiving here in a relationship, and we just want to align ourselves to all that that good work. I just love that he says this is exactly what I've been looking. These kinds of things are what I've been looking at for longer than a month now in preparation for this campaign. Good work, systematic study, personal development, and any concrete action, any positive concrete action we contribute to help make this world a better place. So in my relationship to spiritual community, the question then becomes, for all of us, not me, all of us, in our relationship to spiritual community, the question is, what's mine to do? And how will my doing bring me joy? Is it even possible? And I would say if it's not bringing you joy, it might not be yours to do, right? So, when Julie was sharing with you and when you were talking personally, Julie, I was thinking about all the ways your life, your story would be a really good story to share with other people, because as I know, and the conversations we've shared, your life has demonstrated these principles as you have aligned your life more and more and more. And she just kept continuing to say yes to these possibilities. And every time Julie stepped up to another sort of commitment at the center, we also watched her life change in a positive way. And I mean, she's had substantial, from financial can't see. Is that Phyllis in the booth? Can you let me have this mic? Okay, good. Now, it might take a minute to adjust it to me because I'm loud and wild. All right. I didn't mess my hair up, did I? Okay. All right. So we're looking at having joy in what you decide to do. One of the things we're going to do in the family meeting that I do every year is I print out always on orange paper, so there's a consistency to it. The title of the worksheet is Harvesting Your Skills. And it's an opportunity for you to see where we have a need right now, what volunteer positions we're looking to fill right now. So be sure even if you don't stay for the meeting, it would be awesome if you would stay, grab a little orange sheet, fill it out before you leave, drop it in one of the boxes, or give it to somebody you know that'll get it back to us. Now, to kind of reiterate something I said at the top of the message this morning, the idea of joy in right action is more than doing the right thing. We find joy in our actions when we have aligned ourselves to that wholeness, to that allness, to those omnis, because those are powers that are available, that exist on the planet, and our awareness of them and our understanding of how laws work create a way for us to align to those principles. So, for example, hey, Mark Reed, was there Play-Doh when you were a kid? There was Play-Doh when you were a kid? I think I had Play-Doh, but I don't know. I was born a long time ago. You had Play-Doh too? All right. Anybody you didn't have Play-Doh? Is there anybody that probably didn't? Mary doesn't remember Play-Doh, and a couple of hands back there. Because I was wondering, do I know Play-Doh because I was a mom? And, it's a mess to clean up when the kids leave it out and it gets crumbly. And, so is that why I remember it? But I started thinking about Play-Doh and how fun it was to get brand new Play-Doh. And the colors of that yellow is vivid yellow, and you got the blue and you got the red. And, well, that's where I'm heading. You are always, I think you need to be a minister. You are always one step ahead of me, girl. So what I know is that it was really fun to get that Play-Doh. And can you smell it? Because all morning when I kept talking about it, I just kept smelling it, almost like I could smell it on my hands again. It's like, no, you have not been playing with Play-Doh. This is a memory. You see how our minds are? But how often did we mix it? Right? And once, so there's a law, there is a principle, a physical principle, that if I mix my yellow Play-Doh with my blue Play-Doh, I'm going to get green, right? And if I mix the blue with the red, I'm going to get purple. And it's a law. It just works all the time. But what happens when you mix them all together? It gets icky, right? It gets icky. And I also remember my mom buying clay, like modeling clay that came in. It was like, and it had 4 strips of different colors. And it was the same thing, that it was really fun to play with. You got to get it soft, and you play with it. And then at some point, you just want to make something really big, or you get tired of trying to keep the colors separate. So you mix it all together and you get... Yeah, and it's ooky. So it's almost like you are violating the laws of color and you're punished by it. All the joy is gone. I mean, it's still fun to play with, but the law of color now it doesn't bring you as much joy as when you first get it and you got all the vivid colors in it. Here's another illustration. I just had a new roof put on my house. Boy, those roofers know how to get up and down off the roof. They can get from the ground, they can climb that ladder, they can get on that roof. They seem to have no fear of heights whatsoever. Me, not so much. Right? I'm not really comfortable on a ladder. And so there's this law, this physical law of gravity that Dr. Holmes always used as an example, and I like to piggyback on it because it's so good. We study the law of gravity in our living. Is that not true? And so how do we learn how the law works? we have some little upsets and we weren't quite balanced enough. So we become adults, or hopefully when we're adults, this doesn't pertain to everybody, fall down lady. Which she's not admitting. Okay, that's fine. We just teasing her because we picked her up once, at least. So what happens is we learn because, an event happens. Or we learn because we watched an event where somebody else got into some mischief in an argument with gravity, right? But what happens to the roofer or anybody that has to climb for a living? My husband was a lineman. My husband would climb telephone poles and towers that were frightening to imagine. He'd take us out to see the tower that he had just built, and it was scary. It's like, that's the father of my children. He shouldn't be that high off the ground. Rod, you know this. Are you comfortable climbing roofs? Yeah. Okay. And ladders, and not you climb the ladder to get to the roof. I guess I can. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. He stands on top of them, and he can work from standing on the top rung of the ladder. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not fun to watch him, right? Because we understand that you have to be careful. So we age, and we learn to be careful when we're using things, or we learn to pay attention when we're walking on uneven ground. And if we don't, when our attention gets diverted, that's when things go a little sideways. But I was thinking about the roofers and how skilled they were at getting up and down and how comfortable, and it always sounded like they were having fun. They did it in 3 days. I was amazed they could get the roof done in 3 days. And I was home most of that time. Yes, it was loud. But I was impressed with their skill. And what I realized as I was reflecting on that process was that these are people who have learned to embody the principle. They're not thinking about where they put every foot while they're climbing the ladder. I was thinking it's much like learning to drive stick shift, right? So at first, when you're a new driver and you're trying to learn how to drive, I had a Volkswagen Beetle, so I had to learn to drive stick right away as soon as I got my driver's license, which was a really easy car to learn it in. But, there's like trying to remember how to the gears and where and how, and then the clutch was tricky. And then something magical happens. You embody that process and you no longer think about having to push in the clutch when you're coming to the stop sign. You just do it, right? So that is a way you could say we embody the mechanics of how to drive a stick shift. That is the way we embody a relationship with gravity in terms of how we use step stools and ladders and all that. And I would say that my roofers were masterful in the way they demonstrated a relationship with gravity. When we understand the physical laws of life, including the spiritual laws of life, when we understand, then we can use that knowledge to make our lives a little bit better. Life becomes a little bit easier. We find that we are safer. Things can appear more beautiful, like the mixing of colors. Our life is more efficient and effective, and in fact, it is more pleasurable. Therefore, we understand, on some level, all of us understand there is joy in right action. The omni-action of God is the expression of perfect order. And that order is unfolding around us all the time. It cannot not. It is about that omnipresence, that omnificent is the ever-creating, right? When we understand that and we can find our way into that sort of energetic movement of life, we sort of get in a stream. So it's more than, it is a stream of consciousness, but it's a stream of existence because we have taken it on. We've owned it. We understand it. We don't have to think about it. We start to live our lives differently. Here's another thing I wanted to say today. I can pray till the cows come home for some important issue going on in my life. But until I move into action, my words are just words. Now I'm going to demonstrate this to you. Here, this is the part you're going to play with. Is that okay, Rod? Are you still willing to partner? All right. So I want you to, everybody, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are, where to look. I got something for you. Nope, you sit right there. Don't you move. Watch him. Notice his posture's already changed, right? You heard his name. Now we're having a conversation. I got something for you. Do you want it? I do. All right. Catch. I'm not a very good thrower. All right, there you go. That's a demonstration of how you receive something. In order to receive that, he not only had to he was alert, he opened his hands, and it was a bad throw. It wasn't a very good, if you were watching at home, it was a bad throw. But he got it. He had to lean, in fact, it would have hit Kathy had he not intervened. And now he has a gift. And you get to keep it, because I know it's something you want. I had to go in the garage at 5 a.m. and dig through Hugh's clothes to find the perfect T-shirt to wrap up and throw at you. All right, so in order to receive that gift, he changed his posture. He changed everything about him. And sometimes the way that we change our posture, especially when we're praying, is that we change our attitude. We change what's going on in our mind into a receptive attitude so that we can open ourselves to receive our good. Other times in our life, it involves more than that. There are other times in our life where the right action that will bring us joy is actually going to involve taking a step toward it, whatever it is that we are praying about, right? There's a way that we are called to participate in that receiving of the good. There are things that we can do. It always reminds me of that story. Boy, I haven't told this story in many years. I don't think I've ever told this story here. But remember that story about the woman that prayed every night, Lord, please let me win the lottery. If I don't win the lottery, I'm going to lose everything. Night after night, this woman prays to win the lottery. God, please, are you listening? And she starts losing things, and her life isn't changing around. Lord, please help me, Lord. I need to win the lottery. And then finally one night God had enough. And God says, all of a sudden a boom of lightning and a crack of thunder, and the clouds part, and this huge voice from the heavens speaks out to her, Margaret, help me out here. Go buy a ticket. We got to do our part. Faith without works. We say treat and move your feet. So there's an omni-action of God that is ever in process, ever creating an environment that is fertile for possibilities to manifest in our lives, but we got to do our part. We want to, our part would be to somehow use our thinking and the words of our prayer to convince ourselves that it's possible, that we can change our attitude, that we can open ourselves to catch that which is being, tossed to us, freely given all the time. The grace of God is pouring out all the time, but we must be the container, the vessel to receive it, to be filled up with that grace. It is that harmony, it's that perfect order in the universe that the great thinkers of all the ages have spoken about from the beginning of time. And we're all talking about the same thing. When you find it and you use it, there is joy in it. And true, sometimes we sort of have to stumble in it. We have to take a little spill or a fall before we awaken to oh, that's the way that works. Wanted to share a quote with you this morning by Marcus Aurelius, who was lived in that. Was there a first century? Well, yeah, but then what would that have been? Because doesn't it always go ahead? Help me out, Julie. The zeros. I know. Anyhow, he was born in a 100 and something, and he was the emperor between the first and this the first couple hundred years. He was the emperor of Rome for a while, and he was known to be the last of the great emperors. And he did incredible things, and there are amazing quotes. Whenever I see his name behind a quotation, I read it with a lot of open, I want to absorb whatever he said, because he had some great stuff. We could actually use his stuff because he was a leader, a political leader. He said this: if any work is done in harmony with the inner spirit, then there's nothing to fear. When we do any work in harmony with that inner wisdom, that God within, that indwelling presence of wisdom that is always there, it just gets kind of clogged over and buried, and that's why we're unearthing our treasures this month, so we can look for the good stuff that's in there. But when we do that align ourselves to that inner harmony, that presence of God and wisdom, that's about being authentic to your true self, to who you really, really are. Then there's nothing to fear. Interestingly, sort of ironic, Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire during the first true pandemic of Rome, as well as the Parthian War and the Germanic Wars. That sounds kind of like some of the stuff we know of. So there are words of wisdom, because there really isn't much new in the way life moves. And yet the truest truths have always been in place to guide us. Our goal, our yearning and desire can be to understand how those spiritual principles work, so we can get in that current of life and have that joy in the right action that we are then called to share with the world. So yes, there are things to be done. Doing is easy when you know what's yours, and when you understand that you are working in alignment with a power that's greater than we are, right? A power and a presence that's greater than we are. And then we can make choices for ourselves and for the spiritual community. We'll make choices that will support the greater good of everyone. And it isn't about, it's different than the way we thought it would look. When we do that and we experience that, the omni-action of God, and you're in that harmony of moving in one with it, then all sense of fear slips away. That's when we touch the joy. Now, I'm just knowing that sometimes our finances scare us. Sometimes money scares us, and we don't like to talk about money. And stewardship is definitely about the board of trustees is getting ready to try and set a budget for the upcoming year, and so we have to get all our ducks in a row, so to speak. I'll tell you something personal. Uh-oh. Hugh and I had a fight last week. It was our first fight since he passed, since he's not living with me anymore, at least in a way I prefer. We had our first fight. I had a dream. And you know what we were fighting over? Money. The same argument we had since 1972. It was the exact same fight. It was so funny, but I was so freaking mad at him. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I took off my wedding ring, and I put it on the dresser, and I went, I am not wearing that ring today. Right? We had a fight over money. And the reason we have stress around money, the reason we have fear around money is because in a relationship, we have two different sets of values that then sometimes conflict. So you're just trying to decide. I see a lot of people going, people in relationship know this, right? We just have a different idea of what's most important and how to manage the details of that. And by the way, behaviorists would say that that's where all conflict comes. It's when our values bump up against each other. That's the only thing we ever argue about anyhow. So I won the argument, by the way, as you can imagine. I know, some things matter, right? So I wanted to just say that don't forget that when we talk about the omnipresence of God and the omni-action of God, that even in concerns of our finances, your actual money or the balance in your checking account or your savings account, all of that, know that God is right there in the middle of all of it. I don't know why we exclude God when it comes to things like our finances. And I understand that money got a bad rap way back in the biblical days and all that. But how would that change if we looked at that, if we understood what it meant to have a prosperity consciousness? Everything could be very, very different. When you see God's there could be joy even in managing our finances. And there should be. And not because you have a lot of money, because if you think that's what's going to make you happy, well, you'll figure it out one day. Right? I guess, or maybe we already have. Maybe all of us have already figured that out. So we want to be remarkable. I'm so excited about the idea of just looking at what it means to be remarkable as stewards for this community in the upcoming year. And we'll be looking next year at building character. The theme for Centers for Spiritual Living next year that we will be coordinating with, their theme is Living Out Loud, and every month there's a different theme, and this is the first year we've done this, but we bought the spiritual journals that go along with the monthly and weekly themes that will also be coordinating with the Science of Mind magazine. So if you're a fan of the magazine, or even if you're not, it's a gorgeous way to, they come together in a beautiful way. So I keep forgetting to tell you about that. So we have these for sale in the bookstore, and we're giving you a little discount on them. They're $14.95. We're going to let you have them for $14, and it'll be really fun to use them all year. Dr. Holmes said some important words. These words come from a lecture he gave in 1952 in Beverly Hills. So in 1952, Dr. Holmes was lecturing for 6 weeks in a row, at this Beverly Hills High School before it was a TV show called 90210. But he was lecturing there, and somebody recorded the lectures, and then they were transcribed, and they are now, you can buy the book called The Beverly Hills Lectures, which I find fascinating, because in those talks, they were not written, planned out, or prepared talks. They were really him up there, sort of just speaking what came to him, and they're highly entertaining. But here's a quote I took from that book. Dr. Holmes said, this is so good. The moment you step out of the ordinary ranks, you are in the spotlight of evolution. Your own choice has decided for you. And you are no longer you no longer think like everybody else. You will no longer go by the norm of the mass mind. You are a leader, you are a thinker. You are the one to bring new things to the world. The omni-action of God, the joy of right doing is so much more than just doing or trying to do the right thing. Sometimes we get discouraged because we hear a quote like that and we think, well, I could never be all that. I'm not a leader. I could never be all that. And it feels sort of overwhelming or too big. But what I want to say to you this morning is nobody is all that. Nobody is all that. But when we come together as community, we're more than what we are just as an individual. So don't be overwhelmed by the good that you have been called to bring to the planet. Because the planet needs our good more than ever before, I do believe. And you know what it takes just to start stepping forward toward that, to being the best that we can be, to sharing our gifts with the world or our spiritual community. You know what it takes? It doesn't take strong will. Julie, I never saw you demonstrate strong will. I saw you say beautiful yes. Beautiful and gentle yes. I saw you accepting things as a part of how you might be able to demonstrate what you bring. It's not about being so squared away or that you found the perfect therapist that helped you through your problems. Or it doesn't take any of that kind of perfection. It doesn't even take courage. You know what it takes? The tiniest bit of willingness. Just a teeny tiny piece of being willing and saying yes. Because when you do that, something else empowers you. Holmes said, the whole basis of our teaching is that each one of us has access to spirit, and that spirit is a reactive, creative intelligence that responds to us. So just a mustard seed of willingness, and we can make big change in the world. You are remarkable. You are the rarest gem. You bring gifts wherever you go. And you can tap into that at any time. Because the point of contact with God, the way we touch that power and that gift inside of us, is always at the center of our own being. And it is revealed as we do this work, this personal work, on our spiritual path. That's what I wanted to say today. Let's take a breath. Take a nice, deep, holy breath. And just feel the love of God right where you are. I feel the love of God within me. And I sense the movement of love in this very room, in this sanctuary. And I know that that movement of love is in the very places that we have consecrated as holy, even in our own homes. So we join together wherever we are for these sacred words that empower us to align ourselves to the omni-action of God. I feel that love of God within me, and I know it is the eternal truth of life, that desire within each individual that is seeking expression on this planet, and that we are the vessels through which these gifts may come. So it is a wonderful day where we are standing in the fullness of divine illumination. We stand in the light and the love of truth. And we recognize that indeed, as we make this choice to align to this power and this presence, as we move in that current of omni-action, that there is joy that we find. There is joy in doing and in giving and in recognizing the presence of these universal principles. And that as we study these ideas, we strengthen our ability to balance ourselves through all of the interesting twists and turns of our very own lives. And so we are awake and aware this day. We have touched something within us that sparkens that inner light in such a way that that desire to do good work in the world, to be the presence of love in our families and in our neighborhoods, to follow the instincts within our bodies so that we can be healthy and vibrant and well. As we move in that current, we do see that fear slips away. That there is something far more powerful than anything that might scare us in a dark night. That there is the force of love in this universe that is the most powerful force there is. It is the very love that has created us, that kissed the breath of life into us, so that we stand today as individuals and we join together in spiritual community to be even greater. So I am thankful for this teaching that gives us that pathway to healing and restoring our sense of wholeness and our sense of belonging. I am grateful to the individuals that declare themselves to be a part of this community, and even for the people that are engaged, even in distant ways, to be a part of what starts here in the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. So I say thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, living Spirit, for all of this wisdom and all this awareness and this new birthed divine light that guides us and supports us and sources us in every way. For in these truths, in this rhythm of omni-action, we are uplifted, we are clear, and we again find that we indeed are holy, holy individuals. And so in that spirit of deep, deep gratitude, I simply release the words of this prayer into that divine law that always responds affirmatively. I let it be, and together we say, and so it is.
Grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see, His love reflected shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
And now it's time to share our gifts, tithes, and offering. It's our opportunity to play in prosperity consciousness, practice the law of circulation, and to give back to our spiritual center. So if you could say the giving affirmation with me. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Please rise for our last song. It feels so good to be alive. It feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up if you're ready to have some fun. Now sing it. It feels so good to be alive. It feels so good to be alive. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live. It feels so good to be alive. It feels so good to be alive. One more time. It feels so good to be alive. Woo.
All right. So the only thing unsaid was that we don't pass the offering plate because we have contribution boxes on the walls in the back of the sanctuary over by Papke Hall and one in the bookstore area as well. We're going to close with our old favorite affirmation. Repeat after me and help me out if I can't remember. All right. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. And life is in all my affairs. I think it. I feel it. I know it. And I accept it. Just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Amen. Woo! Thanks for being